Howdy y'all, ready to see what it takes to go from humble beginnings to clothing empire. In this video, I'm going to be walking you through the key areas that are helping this brand do over $500 million a year without any ads. As always, make sure that you grab something to take notes with and stick around to the end where I'll be sharing with you the one area that every clothing store is ignoring that is a huge potential for your return. All right, let's go ahead and get into the video. All right, so number one is exclusivity. So what started as a subculture in the skating community in a small area of New York is now recognized as one of the most popular streetwear brands in the world. One thing that many won't want to hear, which is why I want to say it early on in this video, so if you want to tune out or skip this video, you absolutely can. Supreme has been at this game, living, eating, and breathing the lifestyle and culture for almost 30 years. You do not build a $500 million+ a year business overnight, and as an entrepreneur, I hope that you do understand what I'm saying and how long it takes to make that happen. Now, the encouraging part here, we are going to walk through how they did it and how you can too. The pie is big enough for everyone and it is only expanding. So if you go to Supreme's site, which we will hear in a second, you'll notice there are a lot of items sold out or very limited stock. They've done this in a way much like when Jordan drops a new shoe, the brand is so popular that people want it. If something is readily available and can be found anywhere, then the brand isn't seen, right, or perceived to be as valuable. One thing to note is that the quality of the material used and the price point of this product also draws in customers. We all buy clothes in one way or another for the prestige or status we believe comes from a certain item. Even simple white shirts that fit you well are more desirable than baggy shirts where you aren't perceived as highly, right? So from the outside looking in. When in doubt, be true to yourself, your brand, and your community. As soon as you sacrifice those areas, your store will start to suffer as well. So Warren Buffett said it best here, right? He says, it takes 20 years to build a reputation and only 5 minutes to ruin it. Think long term and you will almost always come out on top. But exclusivity can't be the only thing that makes a brand this big. So what else is it? All right, before we cover number two and talk about the content creation, I just wanted to say howdy. My name is Aaron. I'm one of the co-founders here at BitBranding, and we are an e-commerce growth agency that specializes in helping clothing stores grow and scale profitably online. Hopefully that is you. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any of the latest strategies for clothing stores. We drop new content, at least 2 videos every single week for people just like you. All right, so number 2 is content creation. Y'all already know that if you have been around for a while, content creation is the key to success for a long-term brand. Think about any brand you care about or where they have been creating content to reach their audience, and Supreme is no different. Well, maybe it is different actually. So let's jump over to their website and social media and break down what kind of content they are creating. I believe this will help you understand the type of research you need to do on your competitors so that you can pull out winning elements for your brand. And don't worry, whether you are a streetwear brand, a boutique, or a private label, the research is the same. It's really what you do with it that actually matters. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump over to the website. All right, so checking out the Supreme website, this basically breaks every single rule that you could possibly think of whenever you're thinking about a clothing store. And so it may not be in your best interest to copy everything here, but there are some very unique things about the site that just make sense, right? So this, to me, it looks like a site from 1999 with the way that it's structured and layout. There's literally no visuals except for the products. But I actually joined the mailing list, and we'll talk about that here a little bit later because that is another piece that I want to talk about for this puzzle. But so it's just saying literally what time it is in New York. It says Supreme, and then you have a preview of their products, their lookbook, and then you can actually shop. So let's go ahead and look at the shop. So shopping here, this is how you scroll through the products. You literally have to scroll from right to left to pick a product, and then you hover over it, you click on an image, and you can actually click to the next jacket. For example, this one is sold out. This you'll see as a theme here. This one is actually available here, 238 bucks. Let's see here, what else do they have? Let's find the one that's not sold out and let's check out this product description. So this is available here, right? So cotton utility jacket, 2-layer cotton with cowhide leather collar and full zip closure, double welt hand pockets and patch pockets at a lower front, Velcro flat patch pocket at chest, and sleeve with interior patch pockets. This is it, right? So you can just see the quality of it, but there is no front. Oh, here we go. Nope, there's just different colors. Okay, there we go. So we can see the back. Good, it doesn't break that rule. So there's a front and a back. There should be like a detailed shot. There is. Nice, so you can see the quality of the material. So they at least follow that, right? So we have a front and back and a detailed shot. There's no people in it at all, right? No, there's literally nobody in these outfits. All right, just another jacket. If you wanted to go back, I don't think you can really even go back. You have to just go back to home and then like literally go back to the spot. It's also cool here, so random. They just have a random video in here. I have not watched this video, but let's take a look here for a second for those who are curious.
Huh? I got some shit on my thing. All right, you sure? Why the crawl? Why crawls? I mean, I wanted to make a distinction between haves and have-nots. And, you know, the haves would be people who could afford verticality. They could afford uprightness. And of course, uprightness in the term injured the military, but it was more to young artists.
Probably gonna have to mute some of this out here, but the point is that some guy crawled for rights. He did it on a skateboard, and Supreme picked it up and now is on their website as something that's random, because it absolutely is random. Let's look at the actual content creation here, because I think this is also interesting, right? So they have a Facebook and Instagram. There's no TikTok to be found. I didn't really look to see if they had a Twitter. They have an app, so you can literally get the same experience that you get on their website, but you can get it on an app. It's just a kind of a unique approach to the way they decided to run the brands, but there is an app available. A lot of people who are looking at these as like drops or like the way that they buy the product, go to the app because it's just a faster checkout process. They usually get things faster than what they would on the website. But let's go ahead and look at, okay, so their Facebook page here, you can see nothing is pinned, but they haven't posted for a while. It's October now, and they posted on September 27th for their fall tees. They really don't post unless they have something to say. High quality photo here, again, September 19th, September 12th, right? So they're posting like once a week. If you look at anything at them, right, let's look at the content creation side, but like anything that's like a quote unquote best practice, right? Where you post on Facebook, you know, maybe once per day or something like that. They're doing once per week. You look at a website that has high visuals, high quality visuals, and there's a lot of them, and easy to like navigate, reviews, etc. They do not have it. So very unique approach for almost everything that they're doing. But if you do look here, the quality of the photos are insane, but then the actual stories behind it, right? So Supreme Pope L, right? So American artist Pope L was born in Newark, New Jersey in 1955, and then it goes through his whole story. They literally wrote like a little blog right here of what's happening, and this is the shirt. Actually, this is the guy right here. I guess this is him, Pope L from Newark, New Jersey. He's the guy that was in that video that was the random video. He's wearing the Superman outfit crawling across New York. So maybe worth going to check out. At least it's consistent with their branding here. I don't want to talk too much about Nike right now because that is a major piece for the rest of this video that I'll explain a little bit later. But as you can see here, right, everybody has or embodies like the Supreme brand, the Supreme culture, and that's what they take pictures of. Just high quality, relatable content. Same thing for this. 33 photos. You don't also see that too much too, where they actually drop like an album of like just a photo shoot with here as well. Next up, let's check out their Instagram real quickly. I don't believe it's actually the same. It is not. So they do have some similar photos, but they're at least being native to the platform. So they're doing their own thing on Facebook. They're doing their own thing on Instagram. They are different, but they are like being native to the platform with the type of content they create. Everything is simple as like, let's look at this video. I watched this the other day and it's actually really cool. So this is Supreme. So very cool. It literally says Supreme Mechanics Iraq work gloves, right? So they're showcasing the work gloves, but like it is for a race car. You can tell that it's NASCAR. You can tell like the ingenuity, the creativity that goes on with it. So they literally just posted a picture of somebody wearing their gloves, doing something else. It reminds me a lot of what Red Bull does, which is like not really sell the can of Red Bull and that it gives you wings. We've talked about that before, but selling the lifestyle, right? I think that's the main thing that Supreme comes up with whenever you're looking at it. And I don't know what they say when the CEO comes into the door every day, but it has to do something with, you know, we're doing this for this lifestyle, for these people, because it's all about that culture. It's all about that lifestyle. It's all about what it started Supreme, and it's just stayed true for the last 30 plus years. And then now it's just expanded to who are these people. So really cool visual. Like I said, I mean, if you looked at this and it didn't say Supreme on there, which it doesn't say Supreme anywhere except for the very end, it just has the logo, you wouldn't even know what's going on. It's just a really cool, engaging video for the type of culture for this person. So really cool. And then the rest of the pictures, right? They're doing reels some, so okay, that's good. They're jumping on to what is actually working right now, right? Posting reels, but let's see when the last time, September 9th. They're not posting that often, but again, it's high quality, it's lifestyle. They do have some, let's see what this is. Okay, so people in look like an inner urban spot in New York, just playing double dutch, wearing Supreme shirts. Very cool. All right, so as you can see, they kind of break a lot of rules. They're following kind of a baseline of like being native to the platform, which you should do, but then they're staying true to their content, right? Versus following on to like what a lot of people do is creating the exact same thing over and over again. They are not doing that by any means. They're just kind of literally beating to their own drum at this point. Before we get into partnerships, I wanted to tell you about our free masterclass training for clothing stores that will walk you through the 5 pillars that you must have in place for your online store to scale consistently and profitably, no matter what is going on in the world. If you want access to that free training, like I said, just check out the link in the description down below. All right, so number 3, and probably the most valuable asset, the most valuable strategy within Supreme, right, is the partnerships. All right, so we all love a good dynamic duo, whether it's Shaq and Kobe, Jordan and Pippen, PB&J, I don't know, I can't think of any other duos, but the same goes for Supreme. They have done amazing at riding on the curtails of brands to collab with and share each other's audiences. I'm gonna go ahead and continue to use the word collab or collaboration for the rest of this instead of partnership, but just so you know, same thing. So let's take a step back here and say that a collab or collaboration is an amazing way to grow both audiences, build trust, and grow, right? So growth overall for everything. This doesn't just go for apparel, but with almost every single other area of your business. Think about who you can be partnering with, collaborating with. Okay, so you may have been wondering what kind of collabs are going on with Supreme? Well, great question. Let's hop over to the internet. It's a really cool thing. I actually read about that this morning. It was invented in 1989 out of some guy from, I think, Belgium or Germany or something like that. So didn't know that. But let's detail a few of these collaborations that they're doing. But before we do, if you found some value in this video so far, please make sure to hop your finger over to the like button. It really helps us, YouTube loves it, and it is free. Thank you so much in advance for that. And just for doing it, here's a picture of my favorite Rugrat. Shout out to all the 90s babies who are watching. All right, so first up we have here is Louis Vuitton and Supreme. Honestly, a lot of people believe that Louis Vuitton actually owns Supreme. They do not. Supreme was purchased in 2020, somewhere during the pandemic or right around it. I think the deal was already going through by a subsidiary of like some high-end like fashion brand like partnership. So they own Supreme and a bunch of other brands, but it is not owned by Louis Vuitton. But they did do a collection, and as you can see from these price points, right, Supreme and Louis Vuitton, this one right here, this is a $5,000, yeah, $5,600. I guess you would call this, yeah, it's a hoodie. We'll call it a hoodie here, yes. What makes it that much money? I mean, I think you know just from the name. This is being sold on Rebag, which is probably just a resale site. So even though the Louis Vuitton and Supreme collection was very limited, it probably still sold for $2,000, $3,000, and now it is a resale value of almost $6,000. But as you can see here, super high quality, very detailed. Looks like Louis Vuitton actually is the one who manufactured it and built it or like designed it over in Italy, and Supreme put their name on it. The only thing that's Supreme on here, it looks like, is just literally the name across the middle, which is pretty cool. There's a lot of people who are like wondering like, would Louis Vuitton and Supreme actually do this together? And the answer is yes, absolutely, which is why it's so powerful. This actually happened in 2017. We're gonna talk about a couple other ones. I think another really cool one is Burberry is doing one right now in 2022. So Burberry and Supreme. So this one's not as bad. It's got a 0 missing on it. So 615 actually says and up. This looks like a women's hoodie right here. It's just, again, Burberry and Supreme. literally just a basic hoodie at this point. Sweatshirt co-designed by the streetwear and high fashion brands, were released to Supreme Spring Summer 2022. So it just happened for March 2022. The Supreme Burberry box, the logo hoodie was released. What's interesting here though is, right, they do limited release and limited partnerships with these people. So it's like, it's one of a certain amount. It's the same reason you would do, right? It's only so many Barry Bonds like rookie cards, so many Michael Jordan rookie cards, like just to help people understand like the hype behind it. So if you can collaborate with another brand, which we'll talk about pretty later on in this collaboration section, you don't have to do it with a bigger brand. You can actually do it with a smaller brand too, and still make it worthwhile. So that's Burberry. Again, to me, not as appealing as something that they're doing or that they're doing right now and actually have done in the past, which is Nike and Supreme. They have some really, just from my own opinion, some really dope stuff. And if we went back over to their Facebook page, this was something I kind of glossed over but didn't want to talk about too much. So it says, the fall Supreme, this fall, Supreme's work with Nike on the ACG collection consisting of the denim pullover. So this thing, super cool. Nike designed, Supreme here as well. And they just released this September 15th. Oh, sorry, available in September 15th, available in Japan September 17th. So an exclusive line that they're doing with just Nike. And they've been working with Nike for a very long time. Obviously, you've seen a lot of those, or maybe you have seen the collaboration that they've done there too, right? One of the largest clothing brands in the world, and then partnering with a streetwear brand, they both get a credit status from that. But they both benefit, because Nike can be seen as something who's quote unquote out of touch because they are so big, but I mean, they have the Jordan brand, whatever else, so they're still staying relevant. And then you have Supreme, which is a streetwear brand, and then the collaboration of those two, you just mix so many audiences back and forth to help each of them. A lot of other ones that we won't necessarily go into, but things that they've done in the past. So Stone Island, they've also done stuff with the North Face, and they've also just started one, I think it was this year, which is pretty cool. His name is Nate Lohman and Supreme. So he is a much smaller brand than what you would see as like a Nike or Versace or Louis Vuitton or anything like that. But these are actually reselling on StockX. So kind of in his infused designs with Supreme. And let's see here. Yeah, it's only selling for, this is bidding right now, 183. So not too bad. 135, 219. But this is a much smaller, like, independent artist, and they decided to work with him. So you got everything from, one of the largest clothing stores in the world, and then you have this Nate Lohman guy who is an independent artist who happened to figure out a collaboration with Supreme. So Supreme's still staying to their roots of like who they are as a community, who they are as a culture, and still like embodying the Supreme brand as well and helping both of them grow. But that being said, the collaborations that they've had here, they basically get free advertisement from everyone else. So like, how do they do that? Because StockX, because of this other place that we were looking at too, the Louis Vuitton bag, the Rebag, all of these resale spots, and then all of these people who actually buy them and sell them and talk about them in all different types of areas. It's just literally word of mouth, and it's just built up over time, and it's built up demand. And because of the price point, people will look at it, and I'm like, I just look at it and I say it's $600. It must be something of value. It must be something that adds some kind of status here, right? This Louis Vuitton and Supreme, and it makes you want it, right? For me, I'm like, all right, if I had an extra $5,600, I would definitely, I mean, it's a cool hoodie. I would definitely buy that. I would have that, and there's some kind of prestige or clout to it. But what they've done is, even the people who can't afford Supreme shirts or designs that are the $5,600, they may look at it and go to the Supreme website and be like, cool, I normally wouldn't spend $150, $160 on a white t-shirt that says Supreme, but I do want to get the Supreme brand because of the allure, the things that draw you in from that. And so they've built a brand because of the people who continue to talk about that. So think about that as you're creating your partnership, and how you guys can work together to create noise or create conversations for people and generate more sales. All right, so number 4 is the organic search. This is something we've mentioned for a lot of videos. We've talked about it a little bit. I know Christian's talked about SEO and like what you can actually do with your Shopify store. I've talked about it a lot with like the brands that we've broken down, like Kill Crew and Pink Lily. it is a very, very pivotal point in the trajectory of the business, because bigger businesses have figured it out. And I think a lot of smaller businesses do not pay any attention to it right away. And it doesn't mean that you have to do it like from day one, but it does mean that you just have it in the back of your mind of like, okay, how do we make this happen? So organic search, this is a big one. I cannot tell you how powerful organic search is, which is why I'm going to show you, right? And to give you a little bit of a backstory, right? Google's #1 job is to get people to a destination as quickly as possible. Social media's job is to get them to stay on the platform as long as possible, right? So Google's best interest is to get you to go somewhere, which means that if you can show up on organic search and they send you to your website, right, Google is going to continue to push you there. Social is all about creating great content to get people to engage longer on the platform to come back, and that's how you win there. But the organic side of things for social, we're going to actually jump into right here. We're actually going to jump into some software right here. You can use like SEMrush. That's probably the best one you can use. Honestly, it's probably one of the easier ones. Or check out a guy by the name of Neil Patel. He has some free software as well. But this is what we're going to use for ourselves. There's actually like a third-party software that we use, and then it's really built on the back of SEMrush. So we will go in here. I'm going to show you this how many searches per month. There are relevant keywords, and I first want to talk about keywords and then backlinks. Don't worry, I'll explain what they mean when we jump over to the software, but I just wanted to mention this ahead of time that way, because I don't know, sometimes SEO, the SEO world anyway, can sound like it's very jargony, which I guess it is, right? So SEO is search engine optimization, organic search here. Hopefully you got that part, but anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and break this down a little bit more than normal so we can keep everyone on the same page and not try to talk, at a much higher level. I think it makes more sense from here. Okay, so now that we're over here, I want to do what we call just a rankings checker. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and copy the website URL. So it's supremenewyork.com. I'm gonna go ahead and paste it in here as well. And then it will just tell me how many searches per month. What 40% of their searches right now, right? And then the rest of the 60% is actually really spread out. So total volume of searches, 450,000 searches for Supreme per month. I actually saw this very interesting. So brand matters so much. If you were to guess, and I think this was done by Neil Patel or somebody, another SEO guru, he said, how many times per month do you feel like somebody searches for new shoes? New tennis shoes, right? And so people try to guess, and it's like, I think it's, just for the sake of this video, let's just say it's 2 million. And then guess how many times somebody searched for Nike tennis shoes, right? So 2 million shoes across the whole United States at this point of people who are looking for shoes, it's like 2 million. People who are looking for Nike tennis shoes, it was like almost 8 million. So 4 times more people searched for Nike tennis shoes than they did actual tennis shoes just as a brand, like as a term. So the brand is that powerful. So 450,000 searches for Supreme alone. Then, right, you have 18,100 searches for the Supreme t-shirt. And that's only 1% of their traffic. Supreme New York, Supreme hat, Supreme shoes, Supreme store, all of these things that are all Supreme here, right? Very small searches. So they're getting millions upon millions of people every single day go to their site. My guess is maybe a couple million, 2 million people, maybe it'd be more, to their site every single day from organic search of people that are just literally trying to figure out what's going on with this brand and that demand. That is how you know that you have longevity with the brand. But how do you do this, right? So they're ranking for their names, but let's go ahead and I don't know how far we'd have to go back, but let's see here. All right, so it's only gonna let me show the first 100 here without exporting and going into a lot more depth. But my point is, like, you could actually start to rank for certain terms that people already search for and then continue to pop your name up there at the top here. Supreme is just, it literally has Air Force Supreme, it's Supreme Shrek. I don't know if that's necessarily something that they're supposed to be ranking for. Supreme Lanyard. It's just crazy to me how much they have there. So that's the search traffic per month. Another thing is backlinks. So backlinks are whenever you can either have another link on your site connect with a site outside of yours. So for example, let's say Supreme is connected to Nike. So Supreme would talk about Nike in the website and then link back to Nike, or vice versa. Nike would link back to Supreme. That connection there is what gives Google the trust and the authority to say, okay, this is actually a legitimate source. And so the more authority that you have, the more links that you have, the quality of the links that you have, the more traffic it will send you. So let's go ahead and look at this backlinks, because I have not done this yet and I think it'll be interesting. How many backlinks are connected to Supreme right now? View backlinks reports. All right, so they have over 1 million, almost 1,100,000 backlinks. And the good thing here is that there's basically a lot of big brands connecting to them. 97% of them are do follow, which just means that it's a good connection. They actually do want the backlinks, right? So Nike and Supreme both agree that this is a good link for each one of them. Some of them you link to somebody and they didn't necessarily say you could link here, or it's not as necessarily isn't necessarily a collaborative effort on like linking and helping each other out. Okay, so that being said, think about your own, like go and check out SEMrush, go and check out some software like that, just to kind of figure out what you can do for your own brand, right? Whether it's create a blog, whether it's creating content on YouTube, whether it's collaborating with other people, whether it's getting on a PR station locally, right? Maybe your local Fox or NBC or something like that. Anything you can do to help create a link and add authority to your site, that is going to help you get a backlink to also drive traffic to your site organically. And then over time, right? Like, look at this. This has been 30 years, right? And they started at the very beginning of the internet, right? Maybe a little bit easier at that point, but you're talking 30 years of backlinks. It's not like it happened over time, so don't necessarily go into that. Okay, so a few things from this video I want to point out. Please do not get into the comparison game. I hopefully try to separate those throughout, right? This is just really like what is working overall, right? Which is the high points here of what is working, what's not working. So focus on what you can control and what kind of brand you want to build. Continue to stay laser focused and stay true to yourself and your brand. If anything here, right, we've looked at any other clothing store out there that has built something, right, of substance, they've stuck true to their brand, to themselves, to their culture, just like Supreme did. So if you do that and you continue to create value in the world, right, you must create value because that's what business is about. That's what free enterprise is about, capitalism, right? You have to create value for somebody else before somebody actually gives you money. But if you do that, your brand will grow. Now, if you're ready to jump into advertising, right, maybe because you are not to the point of Supreme yet, maybe you do not have the ability to create as many partnerships or the level of partnerships yet, right, and you do need to start using advertising for your clothing store, make sure you go watch this video right here next. All right, y'all, that is it for this video. Hope you have a great rest of your day.